Off jump, boo, cutty, get you funk.
Let me take you back to 2016. Drone shots, electric skateboards. The younger me was making the decision to go all in as a creative. In 26, I'm older, slower, and starting over. But we all got to start somewhere. In 2016, I made a video called I'm More Gary V Than Casey Neistat. And the premise of that video was Casey is dedicating his entire day to making amazing cinematic storytelling vlogs. And while I would like to do that, I just don't have the time. That is a lie. And it wasn't until I sat down to edit that footage that I realized just how far we were apart. Like, it wasn't just that he was dedicating 18 hours a day to the process of filming his vlogs. He had a skill set that I did not have, and I couldn't create work like him even if I wanted to. The reality is, if I wanted to get better at video, I was gonna have to put in the reps. I was a solid photographer at the time. I had been doing that for a minute, but I wasn't doing a lot of video, and I certainly wasn't filming myself, which made it more challenging. The gear was different, the times were different, the expectations of the platform were different, and I needed to grow. But it has been a journey, and I think there are some incredibly talented people out here making videos, and it just makes you feel like I have to be at that level. But here's the thing, you don't. Wherever you are today is good enough to tell the story of today. And I know it can feel intimidating to want to make something and not be able to make what you envision, but you got to allow yourself time to grow. Like, it's not going to happen overnight. I cringe at the videos that I made even 3 months ago. It's not that they're wildly different, but there have been so many little tweaks to my process in every single video that things get incrementally better. So the key to getting to the level you actually want to be at is to simply do more. Now, I know you don't want to hear that. It feels like gatekeeper advice, but let me say it a little bit more plainly. You're not good enough, but it's not that you'll never be. The process of creating is already so incredibly daunting that if you try to do this massive undertaking in a very short period of time, it's gonna seem overwhelming. So take a step back, breathe, and just vlog like it's 2016. Maybe that's a little harsh, but at least I wasn't. Like, I really needed to put more time into my craft to get better. And I think that isn't a message that you should hear and be offended by. It's a message that should be empowering. The point, I guess, is I want to give you permission to learn. And the coolest thing is that even though I can now make work that has exceeded what I wanted to make back in 2016, in 10 more years, I'll be able to make things that are even better. Starting over at 40 is trash, especially when you built something that you're proud of. And for 10 years, I was a proud family man. Failing at marriage is one thing, but feeling like your career is slipping away, it's tough. When you put all your time and effort into something, it's hard for it not to become your identity. So this pivot isn't just mourning a career or a relationship. It's part of me. Like, who am I now? I guess just a work in progress with good lighting. The one saving grace is once you've made a name for yourself doing something, it's hard not to think you can't do it again.
Shit is green, bro. Quick little story time. I know absolutely no one, bro. I make 2 TikToks about Michigan State.
Patience is a virtue. That's what they keep telling me. And it's a lesson that I'm constantly teaching. Getting good takes time, so you might as well just enjoy the ride. Starting over means a new story. Back to zero.
I got a smile on my face when I look at the man in the mirror. I used to worry, my vision was blurry, but it then got clearer. It ain't nothing I'm fearing. I gotta provide the right life for my children.
It's winter. What break is it? It's not spring break. It's some pre-spring after winter break. I don't even know what it's called. They take breaks all the time. Subscriptions save me so much money as a dad. I mean, from the point when this guy was little, we were doing trampoline park, zoo, museums, like anything that he's kind of into that we're probably going to go to more than twice a year, we're signing up because it gives you another option. Like right now we're on this break and it's really tough to get going during the day because you're like, well, I don't have to do anything, so why not just lounge around all day? And I don't want to do that. So having a 12:45 movie forces us to get up, get out, get active. All right, so what did you think of the movie?
It was great, except for the dumb Uno reverse card parts.
What did you like about it?
Everything else, and the diss track scene.
The diss track scene. Wait, tell me, what's the difference between watching a movie at home and watching it in theater?
Theater is the experience, and oh no, you're gonna go to this pausing and not pausing experience. Blah, blah, blah.
Wait, who's gonna do that?
You.
Me?
Yeah, you're gonna go on.
I'm gonna do that?
You're gonna go on a little rant about it.
So my son's sitting there playing video games the other day, and he gets frustrated that he can't beat a level. And he immediately defaults to hopping on YouTube, looking up the walkthrough, and then finding out the solution to the problem he was facing. And I think that just modern technology and availability and things like that have just made going through hard things a little bit more difficult for children. And then there's times where we'll be watching a movie and then he will just constantly pause it because he wants to replay what he just heard, or he's not sure, or he's got to get up and go to the restroom. And like, it's really cool that we have the ability to do these things. But at the same time, I do fear that it's being lost, that there was a time when we sat down and we just watched whatever it was from the beginning to the end. And if you got up, you felt like you were missing something, so you tried your hardest not to. And that's one of the things that I love about going to the theater. Like, it gives you that feeling of you have to be present. You have to capture it in the moment, or it might be lost forever, or at least that version of the experience. You go to the theater and they have like the Dolby presentation or 3D or 4D or whatever options are out there, and it's just like you want to experience it that way, so you don't want to get up. And I never thought I would say this, but sitting there for an hour and a half to 2.5 hours watching a feature-length film presentation is probably a little bit better for their attention span than scrolling through TikTok. You want to stay in control. You don't want to focus on trying to win the whole game on one shot because it doesn't work that way. Left hand layup. It's okay to start. Zero isn't embarrassing. It's honest. In film, there's a training montage, but in life, it's just 10,000 hours to mastery. You're allowed to be bad. There's something powerful about admitting that you don't have all the answers, but starting over takes the courage to admit that you're at zero. But zero isn't the bottom. It's the beginning, when it gets fun again.
2020 was a mess in itself, and all my plans went out the window in the flash. I know you felt what I felt, it's all a part of the process. I was still in the gym, lost my passion for music, had to feel it again. But now I'm back, bitch, and willing to win. Moving cautious like I'm walking with a drink that was filled to the brim. I've been on the phone with family just to make sure they making ends. Older that I get, the less concerned I am about making friends.
You know, repetition is the key to learning. And one of the things about movies is that they are a sneaky good way to reinforce like whatever lessons you're trying to teach your kids. So even though he hears me say things a million times, sometimes it's not until someone else says it that it really sinks in. With that, we got about 29 minutes left of our laundry, and then we're gonna take it back to the house, get some food, and take it easy. I love you too, buddy. So we are sitting here in my mess of a living room. We did get the laundry done after finishing up at the movies, which is really nice. And today we got a laundry party. You know, this has me thinking, in 2016, the expectations were so low. Like, if you had a slightly blurred background, that was like blockbuster quality on YouTube. And just putting in a little bit of effort would have people completely mind blown. And once we had those first couple of creators start saying, hey, I'm going to make daily videos, that's when the expectations started. And it sort of started an arms race. It went from better cameras to VFX to scripting. And all of a sudden, we weren't just making fun videos for our friends. We were becoming full-on producers. The problem is we started confusing production value with perceived value. Production value is just pretty pictures, but perceived value is what the audience thinks what we're making is actually worth. And honestly, I almost started to fall into that trap until I got the DJI Nano. You know, at the time, I was pretty frustrated. I was putting a whole lot of time and effort into making these videos, and I wasn't really getting a ton of views. And what was initially very frustrating ended up being incredibly liberating for me, because once I realized I wasn't getting views anyway, I kind of stopped caring. I completely stopped focusing on every single detail and instead just kind of focused on living, carrying around that tiny little camera like it was 2016, shooting handheld and getting back to having fun. And eventually I just started leaning into the imperfections, going so far as to add the dad cam, which is probably one of the cheapest cameras you can get. It was truly about what I was saying. Now, don't get me wrong, I love a good looking image as much as the next guy, but the technology and the gear that we have available to us now is so much better than the stuff that we had in 2016 that pretty much anything that you create now, even as a beginner, is going to be wildly better than the stuff that even average creators were making back then. So embracing vlogging like 2016 really just means resetting your expectations to what they used to be.
Sit down. Be humble.
Hollywood's bleeding vampires.
One of the hardest parts of starting over at 40 is you've accomplished things. Like, you've had some successes, you've made some money, and there's this pressure to kind of be where everyone else is. And it's not necessarily that you even want to change. Maybe you're taking care of older relatives, or you've got health challenges of your own you got to deal with. But this is just my perspective as a 40-year-old single dad with custody. At 33 with a wife at home, I could move different. If there's one thing I've learned as a creative, it's that not all paths lead to the same destination, and the journey is not linear. So you just start. And being humble helps you to keep things into perspective. It's not about where you've been, it's about where you want to go. So you swallow your pride and you accept your role as a student. And starting over really puts things into perspective. I just think the best thing you can do is be positive. New beginning means new opportunity, new potential for success, new things to learn. And the beauty of doing so at such a late age is that you're not quite starting from zero. Like, you've already learned a bunch, you've already seen a lot, and you're probably a little bit sharper than some of the people around you. So you don't ever lose what you gain, and it's probably not a true start from zero. Once you pick up those new skills and then you add them to what you already know, you become a lot more valuable. So I'm just telling myself to be humble. It's not really about where I am today. It's about where I plan to be. Stop comparing yourself to others. Who cares what they have? Who cares what they've done? Once you stop comparing yourself, you realize this is your life, your decision, and your ambitions. You only care about starting over because you worry what it looks like to others. And they don't give a damn.
Just turn around and get it. Stop being lazy. It went through your legs. Turn up. Yeah, you can help.
My creative life has definitely taught me to just slow down and enjoy the moment, which is kind of a lost art. Like, it's a really important skill because a lot of the things you want to do in life just take time. And if you don't like being patient and you can't sit still, it can be pretty miserable. I say that as I'm sitting here in this kind of waiting phase for my aptitude test. Like, I got a bunch of studying to do. Like, I feel actually pretty confident. It just kind of depends on when I'm actually going to take the test. If they're not going to call me for a couple of months and I don't keep studying, then I'll probably lose where I'm at right now. But, you know, I just took the journeyman, the CW test a couple of weeks ago, so I still feel pretty good about a lot of the information, but I definitely got to get back on the math because that was a part of it that I really stopped studying. But, you know, electrician's path is exciting. Like, I think I mentioned before that, like, the projects that I work on now are typically so big that there's a lot of construction involved, which means becoming an electrician is actually incredibly valuable. It actually opens up way more doors for me as a creative because there's just so many times when I'm having to develop a new technology or create a brand new system, and it's not necessarily something you can go pick up off a shelf. So my hope is that the electrician skills that I learn end up helping me to become just a better creative, and maybe I never fully get into electrician life. But, you know, it's always good to have a backup plan. I just think in 2026, we all kind of lost the plot. I remember watching my very first YouTube video. It was the Ignition remix video from the Duke college students. Like, I was just excited to see what other college freshmen's dorms look like across the country and being able to look into their world and see that they were just having fun. They weren't trying to make money or build a brand or get followers. Like, they were just having fun. And I know we can't go back to those times, but the constant focus on aesthetics and metrics is just really such a bummer. I recently got my first 2 channel members, and it really fired me up. The fact that someone took their day out to subscribe to the content that I create because it means they believe in me. It's just a little confirmation that even if the algorithm does not reward the stuff that I create, people genuinely connect with it. And ironically, I recently got called out for saying that I don't care. Like, obviously, if I put my personal story out and then put all this time and effort into each individual frame, I care about the stuff I create. But I don't care about the outcome. I just make the video that I feel like needs to exist because it's the video that I was looking for. And maybe there is someone out there who needs that video as well. My friend group might not be having the same conversation that I'm having online. Maybe they want to, and they don't want to disclose that to me. So if I make the video, maybe they're the people who are silently watching and hitting like, but never wanting to comment because they want to maintain anonymity. I don't know the algorithm hacks to make your channel blow up. I just know that personally, I'm betting on the fact that I can connect with people a little bit better than the algorithm. And in 2016, that's what we did.
First day of 2021, sick, voice all nasally, but I told myself I'd lay this shit down, so let's run it. I'm so tired of second guessing myself. Had to reevaluate, you know, check on my health. Cause 2020 was a mess in itself. And all my plans went out the window in the flash. I know you felt what I felt. It's all a part of the process. I was still in the gym. Lost my passion for music. Had to feel it again. But now I'm back, bitch, and willing to win. Moving cautious like I'm walking with a drink that was filled to the brim. I've been on the phone with family just to making sure they making ends. Older that I get, the less concerned I am about making friends. That's just the way that it goes. And I ain't famous, you know, but this my life and you can stay for the show. No room for incompetence, building up the confidence. Tell my story vivid like you watching through an Oculus. From submarines to a rocket ship, can't do semi-pro. I don't play for the tropics, Flint. Nah, I treat the game like an architect. If you don't understand, I don't blame you, it's hard to get. Standing in the rain, ice cold with my garments wet. Cause when it rains or pours, let the pain keep your heart in check. You see, I'm here for the marathon. It's clear I carry on. It's clear what Jerry's on. My aura is very strong. They say that time will tell. I've waited very long for it to bubble up like Dom Perignon. Don't hit me now, boy, that ship sailed. 2021 shit, shout out to Mixwell. He got me on the beat, I turn around, write the script well. The way I'm sliding on, it's like a car when it fishtails. I tell you, this is not for beginners. As I hop out the Sprinter, they cannot copy my style, bitch, this is not like a printer.